On the outside, Orsolya Gaal and her husband, Howard Klein, were the perfect couple, with 2 teenage boys, a stately home in Queens and a strong sense of family. Gaal, a striking, 51-year-old blonde, regularly flooded her Facebook page with adoring photos of the family of 4 and a slew of loving old wedding snaps of her and her husband. The family posed together in a selfie on New Year's Eve, as Gaal declared, hoping 2022 will be a great one. Gaal was devoted to her 2 children and family. She was a lovely lady. Always very attentive to her family, her kids, just an amazing person, according to family and friends. But Gaal's seemingly perfect life was brutally cut short after she was found stabbed dozens of times and stuffed in a duffel bag Saturday, less than a half-mile from the family's huge Forest Hills home.
A mother stabbed nearly 60 times, body stuffed in a duffel bag, then dumped half a mile from her Forest Hills home. Right now, the investigation's still underway, even with a person of interest identified. News 4's Anjali Hemphill following the latest developments. She is live.
The family are believed to have lived in the Forest Hills home for about a decade, according to online records and neighbors. Here is how the events of that evening unfolded. Gaal spent time in her backyard Friday afternoon before heading out with friends that evening for a night out in Manhattan. A neighbor who saw Gaal in the yard described her sons and Klein as a normal family. On Friday and Saturday, Klein and the couple's elder son were away in Oregon on a college tour. The pair's 13-year-old was home with his mother in Queens, and cops believe he remained in the stately Tudor home Friday into Saturday without leaving. Gaal, 51, returned home sometime after midnight Friday into Saturday, and her killer came to the home soon after and stabbed her 60 times in the neck, torso, and left arm before stuffing her in a black bar hockey duffel bag that was like one used by one of the kids. Gaal, who was found with possible defensive cuts inside her fingers and on her hands, died from sharp force wounds to her neck, said the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner on Monday, ruling the death a homicide. Law enforcement sources suspect that the killer knew Gaal, as there were no signs of a break-in at the home, and considering the violent nature of the crime, they suggested the attack was personal. After stuffing Gaal's butchered remains into the duffel bag, the suspect dragged it from the side door of the family's home and through the quiet neighborhood, leaving behind a trail of blood. Video surveillance from a local doorbell caught a shadowy figure rolling the duffel bag down a sidewalk on 75th Avenue around 4:30 a.m. Saturday, about 4 blocks from Gaal's home.
Police sources say this chilling surveillance video shows the person who may have killed Orsolya Gaal wheeling her body inside a duffel bag down 75th Avenue. And tonight, multiple law enforcement sources tell News 4 they have identified a person of interest.
The bag with Gaal's body in it was discovered around 8 a.m. a few blocks away, near the corner of Metropolitan Avenue and the Jackie Robinson Parkway. Dog walker Glenn Van Nostrand, 51, thought a mannequin was stuffed into the large pouch. When he peeked inside, he saw black ankle-length jeans, a belt and a woman's waist and called the cops. When police arrived at Gaal's house later that morning, they found her 13-year-old son on the top floor. He told cops he lived at the location but didn't know where his mom was. He was taken into custody and brought to a precinct for questioning before he was released later in the day. Klein, a business owner with an advisory firm focused on lithium-ion battery materials, told police he'd received a threatening text message from his wife's phone after her death stating, "Your whole family is next." Since returning to New York, Klein, the husband, has been in touch with police and is staying somewhere else, as the home is still an active crime scene. Detectives know whom Gaal was out with the night before her death and are reviewing receipts and surveillance footage to track her movements and figure out if she met a mysterious stranger along the way. It's a mystery? Police have been posted outside the home, which is still wrapped in crime scene tape, since the murder. Plainclothes detectives were spotted hauling evidence from the property Monday afternoon, including a large iMac computer wrapped in a black plastic bag. The handyman lover of Queens mom Orsolya Gaal was charged Thursday with her murder, and police said he committed the horrendous crime during a fight over their recently ended on-off affair of 2 years. David Bonola, 44, was already on the NYPD's radar Wednesday evening when officers canvassing for surveillance video spotted him near the crime scene and took him back to the 112th precinct. There, Bonola made incriminating statements about the slaying, NYPD Chief of Detectives James Essig said at a press conference. He was charged with murder, criminal tampering and criminal possession of a weapon for allegedly stabbing Gaal nearly 60 times in the basement of her Forest Hills home with a kitchen knife early on Saturday. Gaal's 13-year-old son was upstairs in the house, unaware that his mom was being butchered in the basement. Police sources said the alleged slaying was not premeditated, and that once Gaal was dead, Bonola panicked and stuffed her remains into the hockey bag because he didn't want the family to find her body. Bonola then rolled the duffel bag through Forest Hills, in the direction of his Richmond Hill home, and dumped it outside of Forest Park, leaving behind a trail of blood that led back to Gaal's side door. "I've never seen him, but I hope they prosecute him and I hope that he stays in jail for a long time because this is unacceptable," said Bonola's neighbor Gina Simonides.